insert a drawing directly in there, but the way you have to do it is actually you're going to download the drawing first. So again, I'll show you how to do that. Drawings are actually great examples for quick graphic organizers for your classroom charts, seating charts. I've seen a lot of people make some pretty creative Google Drawings, as well as Google Drawings are in the template gallery. So a lot of people have made this really elaborate templates that you can download in there. So first thing I'm going to show you as well is the standalone Google Drawing. So let's go ahead and get started with that. Not open Firefox. Craziness. All right. Close the tabs here. So I'm going to jump into Google Drive. I want to be in this guy. I'm going to hit Create a Drawing. So when you create a drawing, I like to call Google Drawing Microsoft Paint on steroids because it can do a lot of different stuff. How many people have ever played with Microsoft Paint before? Yes, because it was the only thing on the computer at the time. You're like, I might as well draw inappropriate pictures because that's all you do with Microsoft Paint. I've been a tech coordinator for several years now. I know. I've been a student for even longer. That's all I did with Microsoft Paint. Google Drawing is just a little bit better, okay? Everything in Google Drawing is object-based, meaning when I draw it, it's an object that I can grab, manipulate, and move around, okay? So to start off, you can name a drawing just like anything else, but you can do different things. I can insert shapes, any types of drawings, right? These drawings, too, can be linkable or clickable. So if you wanted to do a very nice organizational chart and then include links in there, you could do that with this. So, for example, I'm going to grab this one right here, and I'm just going to draw an object right here. Okay, so my object, it's kind of like Paint. I can, or Microsoft program, I can grab and manipulate and drag and move around this object, right? I can double-click on it, and when I double-click on it, that activates the typing tool. So I can type right into it. Type right into it. Okay? Has the ability to edit text. Chewy. Use that font. Okay? You make buttons, a lot of different stuff. Okay, so Google Drawing, you're saying, wow, I sat down for this. I really didn't need to sit down for this. I could have figured that out on my own. Yes, but wait, there's more. Okay? So with Google Drawing, now that I've created an object, we can do several different things with it. I can click on the object, change the color of it, or this is what makes it really neat. I can right-click on it and insert a link. So why would you do this? If you were to make a, how many of you had back in the day when PowerPoint was just awesome and you had downloaded that Jeopardy template from PowerPoint? Yes, yes. You can do something like that, only you can make it look exactly like Jeopardy, okay, with this. So you can insert every one of those images, every one of those, $500, $600 items right over top of there, and then you can link right to it. So this is kind of like PowerPoint except one slide, or I'm sorry, Google Presentations except just one slide. Okay, so jump back. We'll say www.google.com. One too many W's in there. Actually goes overseas to the wonderful World Wide Web. I don't know if you've ever been there. It's a lovely place. Okay, so of course I did that wrong, but that jumps in there. Do that again. Going to right click and insert a link and make this active. There we go. Yep. So now when I click on the link, it says, hey, you're going to go to Google. Okay? So you can share this out with the kids. You can make a organizational chart. You can make a flow chart, anything, and then link those to separate Google documents. The coolest scenario I've seen this done is when you're encouraging your students to start at the top. I want you to click on this document and you're going to complete this form. Next, you're going to go here, complete this form, read this passage. Next, you're going to do this. Next, you're going to do this. You can take these Google Drawings and do anything with them. You can embed them in a Google site, and once you embed them in a Google site, those links remain active. So it's a very neat way to make it graphically exactly how you want. Okay? Google Objects, too, they're very easy to do. If I wanted to insert, and we'll go back here and insert another shape, and we'll do the cloud. If I wanted to insert the cloud over top of that, I could do that. If I wanted to put it behind there, I can right-click on it and go to the order. In Microsoft, it's sort of the same thing. If you've ever opened up Word and you had to pull things from the front to the back, same concept. So if you're familiar with moving objects around in Word, PowerPoint, this is going to be very easy for you. But this is, again, just the basics. It gets a lot cooler here. So I'm going to push this to the back. Okay.
Wait, how did you do that?
So Control Z is Edit Undo. So if I click on that, I've selected that object, right? I've right-clicked on it, and if I go down to Order, I can hit Send to Back. So if I'm doing a neat little design where I want, objects to be layered like that, it's very, very simple to do. I've seen teachers insert student pictures in there and make a nice organizational seating chart. When they click on each picture, it takes it to their Google Doc that they did. I saw a really neat one where she didn't use her website. She used a Google presentation, but she had all the kids' pictures. Everybody gets their picture taken. She inserted all of those into Google Docs or into a Google presentation. And on Parent-Teacher Night, the parents were allowed to come up, touch the screen, and it would jump right into the work that the student has done in Google. So, finally put those $1,200 smart boards to use. I was pretty ecstatic about that after them just sitting up there collecting dust for a while. So, anyway, you can move around and manipulate objects. Okay. So the reason I want to do this is I want to create a brand or a header. And what do I mean by brand? When we created, Sean and Eric Kurtz and I created this podcast called The State, State of Tech. Spell that right? Sure he did. Stateoftech.org. Okay. We came up with a logo, right? Does anybody see the H in the word tech? Yes, it's part of the USB. Isn't that just creative? I used to be a graphic designer. I quit doing it right after that. Okay? But, so for that brand, that logo, that's what we did. So that logo, I didn't do it in Google Drawing, but what we did was we can take that brand and apply that to everything else we do. T-shirts, hats, the top of letterhead, anything we want. Okay? T-shirts? Am I going to sell T-shirts?
No, I give my kids all T-shirts and I can start a class.
Yep. So you create the class logo once. Let's say you do it in Google Drawing. You have that, and you can put that in different Google tools. Okay. So this is an example of branding. Okay. So right now, I'm going to ask the audience: does anybody have their school logo online that I can borrow? What's your school logo? What's your school? How do you spell all that?
SACS.
Is that it?
Yes.
Okay, so this is your logo right here? Fantastic. Okay, so if I wanted to create this logo and I wanted to insert it into Google Drawing, I'm going to jump into a document first, because what I want to do is I want to create letterhead. Okay, so that's the one thing that my administration came to me and said, Eric, we had all these expensive letterheads that we did, and I imported them into Google, and they look like crap now. And I said, well, let me work on it a little bit. So I'm going to show you the tricks on what I did to get that letterhead in there. So first of all, we're all going to cross our fingers and hope that this graphic is a PNG file. And I'll explain what that is. It went away, son of a gun. I'm going to grab this one because it smells like a PNG to me. So I'm going to click and hold it, okay? And when I click and hold it, ooh, look at that. See it moving across? I'm going to drag it over to this document right up here and drop it right into there. Is it going to work? Holy cow, the internet's up. All right. Fantastic. So wouldn't it be that easy if we just did that and our template was done, right? But here comes the stressful, hair-pulling, gray hair part of Google, okay? If I wanted to make a line here and I wanted to get the text just exactly where I wanted, here's my tip for this. I'm going to delete your graphic, even though it's very lovely, and I'm going to zoom out a little bit. I'm going to insert a drawing. Okay, so at the very top, just like we did when we created a drawing just a few minutes ago, I'm just going to use the tip, very tip top right up here. I'm going to jump back to your graphic, and luckily it was a PNG, which the reason I said hopefully it's a PNG is a type of graphic that has a transparent background. So I'll show you the difference between the two here in a minute, but transparent backgrounds means it's going to bleed through. So your colors are red and maroon and gray. Okay, we can do that. I'm going to grab this logo, and again, I did that by left-clicking and dragging, and notice when I go back up to the top, do you see this little arrow that pops up there? It's very tiny. But you see the arrow? That indicates, hey, it's time to move over to this tab. And I'm just going to drag it and drop it right in there. Does the same thing. It creates that image. Okay? Now, I know it's a transparent background because I see the checkered board. I don't know if you guys can see the checkered board on this projector, but it's a checkered board pattern. If you were to open up Google Drawing, you're going to see a checkered board pattern. That's how you know it's transparent. Okay, so I'm going to move this guy right up to the corner. And I'm then going to go in and start a text box right over here. And because I'm lazy, I'm going to go right over here and copy the name of your school so I don't have to retype it. I mean resourceful, not lazy. Copy. Jump back over here, hit paste. And we'll jump back and see, let's see the staff. Who's on your staff? I can copy their name.
Saks is a great place to be.
Is there a find staff button? Am I missing it? Ah, yeah. Sorry. All right. Should we use the president, or doesn't look like somebody? She looks very joking. Oh, we'll do that. Okay. So we'll grab her name. Okay. Again, I'm copying, pasting, enter, and she's the president. I'm going to copy. Paste that as well, and we'll use this, copy, paste, and I want to say extension, that, copy, and paste. So now I've got all these different fonts in there that I need to get rid of and make unique. So I'm going to highlight those fonts, and I'm going to hit this button right here. The text with the skull and crossbones right under it. This is my favorite button in Google because it eliminates all the crazy, yucky format that you copy off of websites.
Can Windows paste without formatting? On the Mac, you can do Shift, Control, Command.
Paste without formatting?
And it'll paste it without the format. I didn't know if you could do that in Windows or not.
I don't know if you can do that in Windows. Paste without formatting? I'm sure Bill Gates has not thought of that yet, but I'll call him later tonight. We'll chat about it. I'm sorry, not Bill Gates, Balmer. Yeah, that's whose cell number I have. Yeah. Okay. All right. So I'm going to make that bold. Just make that look a little nice. So it's starting to look kind of like letterhead, right? I'm going to hit save and close. Okay. So this is where it gets even easier. If I click this button, this whole thing is now a graphic. Okay. So I can check. Oh, I like to hear that. Can we do that again? Because I missed that one. Ah, yeah. So the pain of having to move the fonts all the way around to get it just exactly the way you want, gone. Okay? Because we did what? We inserted a drawing in the top of our text. Okay, so that's the easiest way to make letterhead.
How did you make it all one thing again?
I went up to the top where it said insert, and I inserted a drawing. So once I did that, and what's really neat about this, I'll hit down a few times. Insert, drawing. Yep, I'll do it again here. Yep, once you hit save and close, insert and drawing, and then anything you put in there magically reappears right in the Google Drive, or the Google Doc, yep, as one solid object. So what happens if you misspelled president and you're like, oh crap, I got to go back in and do it? It's just that easy to go back in and hit this edit button. So it saves it. It's really neat. Now, I wish the Google lunchtime keynote speaker is not in here, is he? No? I wish he was, because if I had one suggestion, I would say, please allow me to save this as a Google Doc, or a Google Drawing. If I had a button that said save this as a Google Drawing, it would dump it outside of this document and then make it its own Google drawing. That would be awesome, because then I wouldn't have to recreate this, and I could use this for the top of my Google site. I could use this for every PowerPoint. I could do anything I wanted, but I have to recreate this each time. But luckily, we have copy and paste. So you can copy the whole thing and paste it in there.
Can you move it to a presentation then?
Right, to move to a presentation.
Lock them together?
I don't have to do what?
Lock them all together?
I can just hit those two buttons. I can hit Control and click on both of those. I can copy them, and if I go into a new presentation, when I hit Paste, sure, we'll go simple. When I hit Paste, it doesn't copy over. So that's what's the frustrating part. I have to recreate it in there. Now, what I could do is if I did a drawing, right, and I set that header up the way I wanted, I could export the drawing file, download as a PNG, okay? And then that's how I do it. But that's that little bit of frustration, is I have to do this twice in order to make things the same. Yes?
And if you embed that Word doc or that Google Docs document into a website, a Google site, the graphic will show up just like it shows up on.
It's like Inception. It's embedded within embedded and embedded. I know. It's Google's mind is going, oh, yes. But yes, it does work.
Can you use the web clipboard that's in, does that copy it correctly? Go back to your drawing and select all, not that one, but, oh, that'll do too. Under Edit.
Well, if I, this is the one I want.
That's the one.
Yep.
Edit, under Actions, there's a web clipboard.
Copy.
No, go back.
Web
Down
clipboard.
further.
Down.
Copy shapes to web clipboard.
Yeah, now go to your other, go to your presentation. Or you have to use the Edit and the web clipboard again. I haven't used it that much.
All right, Collins, get $1 out, because it's
Edit.
mine if it
Edit.
doesn't work.
Edit.
Web clipboard and then do shapes.
Then
And
shapes.
hold shapes.
Yeah.
Ooh, look at that. Everybody clap for Mr. Ryan Collins. Somebody gets a hug afterwards, all right? We're going to line up and just do a hug line, all right? So we learned something new, all right? So if we use the internal copying, it's okay to laugh. It only encourages me, okay? If we use the web clipboard, that looks like that works. Thank you, Ryan. The gray hair is not going away, but I appreciate it. So, all right, so that did copy that stuff over. Okay, so I guess you could now go back into that, but I wish that you still had that export as a Google Drawing feature. Okay, so this is just the basics on how this works, but because I have this up, I'm going to hit Save and Close. You said your colors are gray and maroon. Okay, so whatever this color red is, not maroon, not it, right? Okay, so I want to shrink this to fit within my margins. So that's first. So I'm going to grab the corner and drag it up, line it up. I still want to make it go up. Okay, so there's a fixed position button. I can click on here and I can move it around. It really doesn't do it. Okay, so does anybody know the trick on how to do this? Aside from Sean Beavers? I want to adjust my page setup. Okay, so this is one of those tips and tricks with Google Drawings. You're going to say, oh my gosh, it can do this. This is going to save me so much time. If I click on Page Setup, this magical menu pops up. And it allows me to adjust the margins, switch it between portrait and landscape, as well as the page size, and this magical, crazy little guy right down here, which is the page color. And I'm going to show you why the PNG was important there in a minute. I'm going to adjust this top margin to 0.25. Okay, so all that means is I want to move this thing up 0.75. Okay, and I'm going to hit OK, and it kind of moves up a little bit, right? And the internet's not cooperating, so I'm going to hit refresh. And so we're getting closer to, okay, that's acceptable letterhead, right? Except our colors are, what are they, turquoise and navy blue, right? So we're going to change the color of the background because our president is very adamant about colors, and she wants it to look very nice. So she's ordered paper that, how many of you put a different color paper and you print it out in the copier and you think, oh, that's cute, right? Well, I don't want to print anymore in Google, but I'd still like to be able to send this home to my parents and say I can still use that fantastic lavender color that we always use because we bought it in bulk and we can't get rid of that color. So I'm going to change the background of my page color to, there's no one that says lavender. That's a pretty good lavender, right? Your colors are different than mine up there. How about that one?
Yeah.
Okay. That's blue on my end, but you see what that did? Ooh! Now the colors bled through, right? Kind of neat, and that's because it was a PNG. So anytime your logo is done in a PNG document or in a PNG type, it's going to bleed right through. Okay? Yes?
Is there any way to convert JPEG files to PNG without having to pay for something or steal something?
There are some online applications that will allow you to do it as far as cutting some things out. But it's best if your school logo or something like that, in this example, if it's drawn in a vector program and you know, professionally done. As far as cutting things out online, I used to use a program called GIMP that allowed me to cut the background out. I know it sounds kind of weird, but it's the knockoff of Photoshop.
Right.
So you can spend a great deal of time doing that, but there's no quick button that allows you to do that. The keynote speaker did tell me of a extension. It's called Clipper, something like that. Sean, are you familiar with that one? She said that that one allows you to clip and copy right within Google Chrome. I don't know if it has a feature that would be called something like remove the background. That's the feature that you want. If we open up Microsoft, you can highlight around an image, at least 2010. You can highlight and then remove the background. That's a very neat, very nice feature. Okay. Now, let's say we wanted to get a little more fancy than this, and we didn't want to put this in a background. Okay, we didn't want to use this Google Drive or this Google Drawing. I'm going to edit this again because I'm lazy. I'm going to copy this. Control C, save and close, and I'm just going to get rid of it. Now, I'm going to insert, and this is tip number 2. I'm going to insert a table. How many of you have done this in a Google Doc before? How many of you have screamed a little bit after? Yes, okay. So I'm going to show you how to not be so frustrated. Okay? I'm going to insert a table, and I'm going to do a 2x1. Okay, so I'm going to insert a 2x1 table. And what this does is it divides it by this side and divides it by that side. Now the reason I copied that data is because I'm going to go to the right side and I'm going to hit paste. And she wanted it left aligned. We're going to do that. I'm going to highlight this over here and adjust that till it looks like that. Get rid of some of the spacing down there. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to jump back to our website, borrow this image, jump back over to my presentation, and drop it right in there. Now it's kind of cut off because objects, we're still in an object frame of mind, so this wall right here is cutting off this image. So what you can do is click on the image and reduce it down like that, but you still got this crazy box around here. Well, the reason I did this is because I wanted to show off another feature that would allow you to build newsletters, things like that. What I'm going to do is right-click within this box, and I'm going to go to Table Properties. This is another magical menu that you need to memorize where this is. Right here, this says Cell Background. And again, our colors were neon green and off-white. Yep. So we're going to click the cell background there. You see, oh, I know. My graphic designer just died inside a little bit. Going to go back here, and I'm going to change the color again to, I think that color is pretty close there. That ugly color there. So, but you see what I did there? I changed the background and it made the top pop out. Okay? But I still have these ugly little lines up there. Do you see those ugly little lines? I don't like those ugly little lines. So I want to get rid of the ugly little lines. What I do is I right click and again go down to Table Properties, and now it says Table Border. I can do this 2 ways. I have a well, I was going to say I have a wife. Yes, I have a wife. My wife is the kind of person that when she replaces the toilet paper, it wraps round back behind. No, does not make logical sense. We have long debates about this. I'm an over-the-top kind of guy, okay? The reason I mention this is there are 2 ways to adjust the border, okay? There are two ways to adjust the border. I can first change the color of the border to whatever my background color was, right? And I can hit OK, and you can see my border kind of blends in there. Or that would be the wrong way, which is putting the toilet paper around the back, okay? Going to go back, and we're just going to get rid of that whole craziness. I'm the right way. I'm going to go around the front. I'm going to change the thickness to 0, and watch what happens when I do that. Doesn't that just feel better? Yeah, you can be okay looking at the toilet paper. It's going around the top, okay? So I've gotten rid of those ugly lines, and you can do the same when you're building a newsletter, all right? So I know this is very ugly, and it's bothering me, so I'm going to try and change the background to match. Oh, that's even worse. I'm giant sack of fail right now. Come on, purple. Oh, I don't know how that looks in the projector. I think we got to make them the same. Okay. I know. So again, I say there was a reason I stopped being a graphic designer. That's part of the color issue. I stopped being it. But see, you can make a block pop out like that. Okay, so it's not beautiful, but you get the idea. This is part of that process where you can go through and change and make it look the way you want. So now, how do I change this into letterhead for the entire school to use? All right, so that's the next question. I'm going to eliminate the name here, and you'll type in your name, or your pnasm, which is French for your name. I assume none of you speak French. Yes. And title. Okay, and then phone number. Okay, so you could easily make this your template and then hit File, or you want to save it first, and you can do a couple of different options. You can make a copy and dump and start sending it out to people, or you can dump it up to the clip art gallery. The problem I have with the clip art gallery is I cannot figure out how to delete things from the clip art gallery. I've had teachers submit 15 different things to the clip art gallery, and the first one she goes, "Oh, I was just practicing." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, clip art gallery is kind of permanent, so And I keep scrolling down, and there's 14 more copies where it's just one little change, one little change. So I'm like, all right, we're going to turn off the clip art gallery. So, and the clip art gallery, Sean, do you know where they moved it around? I think you have to be back into Drive to submit something to the gallery. So we'll call this template gallery. Yeah. Did it say that somewhere? Submit to. Yeah, I don't even see publish to template gallery anymore. Probably because I called Google and complained and said, look, we got problems here. So I'm going to call this sample letter head, which is probably one word, but that's okay. And we're going to go back to Drive, and I'm going to synchronize my Drive, and that should pop up under Recent, sample letterhead. Now when I click on this, I can go to More, and here's the button where it says Submit to Template Gallery. Okay, so you can be your building's leader and create the sample letterhead for everybody to use. Okay, so you now know how to do that. Cross that off the list. But I warn you, when you submit up to the gallery, I have no idea how to get it out. So again, what I do is I make a copy, or I'll share this with everybody, and I'll make it read-only. I'll include instructions that say, be sure to say, make a copy of. So how you do that is, if I have my sample letterhead up here, and to everybody else it's going to say view only, you'll go up to the top and you'll hit make a copy. And then once you hit make a copy, it says copy of sample letterhead. Then your president, your vice president, everybody else can say Eric's sample letterhead. And then they can go in and change it. And then from now on, that's their sample letterhead. Okay? So it's not beautiful, but we're getting there. We're starting to understand, okay, that's why they did that, the tips and the tricks to do that. So we already learned how to copy and paste stuff over. And remember, we got to do the hug line to Mr. Collins before we leave. And then the fonts and the clip art here. So let's go ahead and get rid of this ugly guy. And I want to jump back into my presentation and see what was next. Yeah, branding your work. Now, the nice thing about this is if I were to go ahead and copy and paste, and we've made that template letterhead now, the way we want, we can hit File, and download as, and then we can make this a PNG. Okay? Now keep in mind though, when you download it as a PNG, do you see all this extra space you have down here? That's going to show up. So your PNG is going to be yay big. You just want it to be yay big. Okay? So what you need to do to edit that is this little guy right here. You notice when I go into the corner, there's a couple of lines. I can click on it and drag and resize my drawing. Okay? It's very easy to do. Just resize the drawing, make it the size you need. Now, I wish, again, wish number 2, I wish that there was a way to say I want to make it exactly 900 pixels wide and 240 pixels tall, because I know when I design my Google site, that's exactly what I need. Unfortunately, you can't do that, but there is an extension. And Sean's going to remind me what that extension is. Now. It's the ruler extension, and it's called Measure It, Measure Up, Measure Time.
To measure the pixels?
Yes.
I think it's ruler. It's RULR.
Okay, so I was way off. It's a ruler, and what it does is it allows you to draw a line in the Chrome store. So we'll do this. RULR. Swing and a miss. Nope. Extensions. Nope. Apps. Themes. No.
Try themes.
Yes. Is it ruler top theme? No. Extends.
Oh, sorry. It's RUUL.
Yeah. Whatever. Okay, so we're gonna rule. We're gonna add rule to our thing, and it's gonna say checking and installed. So what this does, it's kind of neat. I can click on rule, and it says rule this site. As soon as I click here, it allows me to grab a ruler, and then I can drag this around, and it says, oh, that's exactly 900 pixels wide. See that? It's very tiny on your screen, but it shows you that's how wide the pixels are. Okay, so there is kind of a way to do it, but it's not perfect.
And you can resize that right there. On that.
You can just keep, resizing the graphic. You can make it bigger or smaller to do it just like that. Okay? So that's with that. Let's jump back to this guy. Resources. I have a lot of good resources here, and we'll jump into this one. This one I borrowed from Eric Kurtz, and it's called Open Clip Art. How many of you are clip art fanatics? Not anymore, because Google made it so difficult. When I did clip art for our teachers at Vandalia Butler, I used to work at Vandalia Butler City Schools, I accidentally deleted the clip art off of somebody's hard drive, and you would have thought that was a career ender for me, right? She was uber upset. I said clip art, so you guys came back?
Yeah.
Good.
We
Yep.
didn't want to leave.
Oh, okay.
They let us come back.
Oh, well, that's nice. So we want to go and find some free clip art. So this resource is called openclipart.org. So what's nice about it is I can search for anything, which this is a picture of Sean when he grew his mustache out. So I can take this image and do the same thing we did here. I can drag it, drop it. Oh, maybe not that one. Oh, I have to hit View Image. Then I can drag. No, it's calling me a liar. PNG. Yep. I have to grab the PNG. I can grab the image, drag it, and drop it right into my drawings. So it works well. And I have this link up here. I'll let you copy down these links. So it's very easy to just drag and drop clip art right into there. Now, if we jump back to, I didn't want that guy, openclipart.org, you can search for a lot. Oh, I should have put the mustache on there. You can search for a lot of different clip arts. So school is one I always search for. And there's a lot of different options to do. And again, once you click on that clip art, it's just drag up to the tab, wait till the tab to become active, and then drop it right on there. So that's one great resource. Another one is softicons.com. How many of you create handouts for your staff members? And then you have to find the little icon because you're explaining to them how to click on the icon on the desktop. Okay? Yeah, super irritating, right? I think, all right, I'm going to take my screen capture tool and I'm going to cut a copy of that. No, go to softicons.com because they have a ton of icons. So, for example, I'm always making one where, say, why don't you try clicking on the Chrome icon on your desktop? So if I click Chrome, or type in Chrome, it shows me a ton of different Chrome icons. And you know what? This one kind of looks like the Chrome icon on the desktop. So all I have to do is click on the 640 by 480 thing, again, drag and drop, and then I can drop it right into the object. Okay, so making handouts, anything like that, it's a lot easier now that you don't have to take a screen capture and crop it down in Word and do some sort of crazy magic to get it the way you want.
Are there some things that you can't drive up, like our logo shrine and what?
What's your website? Say it again.
Talawanda, TALAWANDA.org.
Are you guys on a Chromebook? 'Cause that's having the same problem
Yes.
on a Chromebook.
Can you not do it on a Chromebook?
No, you can do it on a Chromebook.
I could do it a month ago when I did this presentation on the Chromebook. We'll see.
Yeah, no, I have to restart.
Well, we just crashed the internet. So,
I bet your icon's a link, and it's taking it as a link instead of not
It'll
letting
let
you get
us
to the.
drag it, but it won't.
Oh.
But I've tried this. I've tried all of his little clip art things, and none of them will go into
what Chromebook do you have?
Samsung.
Samsung? Really? That's the one I...
Yeah.
Now, I have a Samsung 550, and that's the one that I've been playing with. And I know that when I did this at, where were we, Michigan? Yeah. I didn't have an issue with it. So it should work on a Chromebook. I have done that before. Maybe the latest build has broken that. But I know it works on Mac and PC. You can still drag and drop, because everybody who I've shown today who's had a regular desktop has been able to drag. Now, will you be able to do it on an iPad? No. So, but that drag and drop feature, if you can't do that, here's what you might want to try. So I can't go to your website because it's broken. So we'll go back to this one. And I'm going to right click on it, and it says save image as, copy image URL, copy image, or open in a new tab. I'm going to copy the image URL. Okay? And then I'm going to go back into a presentation, and I'm going to hit insert image, and one of the options is by URL. So if I click in by URL, I right click and I hit paste, we should see that image right there. So try that one. If it doesn't work, I would blame the person that designed your website. That's totally their fault and not at all mine. So
They're here somewhere.
yeah.
Now, if you're using like the URL and you're embedding it in the doc and you're embedding it, if they go in and change the content of that, does it automatically change the site?
Yes. Yes. So the question is what happens when, let's say I've linked, where's our doc? I think I closed it. What happens if I've linked this letterhead, if I've embedded this letterhead, or it could be the same thing in newsletter, which I'll show you here in the last 2 minutes. If I've embedded this in my Google site, what happens if somebody clicks on that and you're editing it? It gets updated too. So once you embed it, you do it once. So it's Google. It's nice because Google is different than the way we used to do things. When you wanted to upload something to a website, it was you placed a copy of it online. Now it's all online. It's linked. It's one object.
So it does that whether you drag and drop it or whether you paste it by the URL?
Does what?
It will update automatically.
Mhm. Yep. As long as it's in that document refreshes. So while I have this super attractive document still up, what I'm going to do is turn this into a newsletter real quick. So we've already got our awesome theme, okay, and we'll just call this newsletter. Okay. And I'll change the font, make it chewy.
Can you get new fonts?
Can you get new fonts? You asked a good question. All right? Yes, you can. I'll show you how to do that too. So we've changed the font, make it look pretty. Okay, and then I want to do the same thing. I want to insert a table, and this time I'm going to insert a table with 4. Okay, I can adjust these here, and let's say I had a picture of, we'll just Google my kids, and if the internet pops up, that's good. Awesome. Glad we're recording it. And there's a breastfeeding one, too. Fantastic. Have you ever heard the term batting 1,000? Because I am. Okay? So I'm going to take this picture of, obviously, clearly my kids, and I'm going to drag it into my presentation and drop it right in there in that newsletter. And, of course, it's going to be huge. So I'm going to hit Control on my keyboard and use the scrolly wheel on my mouse and scroll down. That way I can resize the picture to the size I want, and I can place it anywhere I want right there in that square. Then I can have the text over here on this side. So I can do the same thing. What I've seen with a lot of our elementary folks is they'll use this. They'll put a table here, a table here, a table here, and it's staggered across the way. So I chose to put 2 in, but you could do 1 and then insert another one right below it. And then again, we put the toilet paper which way? Over the top. So the right way to do that is to remove the thickness of the border. Once you do that, then it goes away and it looks like it's perfectly formatted. Okay? So I'm going to hit undo, because what we could also do is, again, change the colors right here, and we could make this section pop out a little bit and sort of give it depth. Okay, so it's an ugly Microsoft template, but we're getting there, right? You're getting to the way you want. With time, you'll be able to come up, make your work on this, make your own template the way you want, and then share it out with the rest of your team, and then they'll mooch off of you, because that's exactly what happens. You're here because you're the leader of your building, and you're learning how to do this, okay? So the last question was, what about fonts? Can I get fonts? Absolutely. If I go into Arial right here at the bottom, there's Add Fonts. And are you ladies seated? Fantastic. If you go and you scroll down, there are a bajillion and one different fonts that you can just click and add. But you can't get what? ABC print font? Okay.
Is it only in docs? Like, you can't do this in spreadsheets and those other ones?
In docs, I know you can do this. In slides, you can do this. What I've seen is when you copy and paste from docs into something else, the font carries over. So that might work in spreadsheets. But because we're still on the topic of fonts, cooltext.com. Okay? This is the last one I'll show you, and then I'll answer any questions. Okay? I'm going to go to cooltext.com, and there's a lot of animated fonts in here. I'm going to choose the one that is not animated because I don't want to make my kids sick. Okay? I'm going to choose this one, Chick Flick. Chick Flick. Okay? And I'm going to write newsletter. Okay? And you see, as soon as I do that, it says newsletter, right? I can go down and I can change the font. We'll make it smaller. Nope, we'll go bigger. Okay? I can add and mess with the outline and a lot of different stuff. But because this is an image, what can I do with this? I can use it in my presentation. So I'm going to click on newsletter, this image, drag it, drop it, and boom, perfect. Now it's part of my newsletter. Well, not right there, but yeah. For some of you, you just let out a sigh of, oh my God, do you know how much time this guy just cost me? Because you're going to be messing with this forever, because it's never going to look right. Okay? But the trick is to set up your brand. You know, at the top of the screen, make it look the way you want, and stick with that. A newsletter. Just change your volume. It says volume 1, print 1. Just change that stuff up at the top. Okay? So this website, cooltext.com, again, a ton of different logos. If there's one that doesn't work for you, like there's this animated one that would probably just scare kids, that's probably not going to work in a Google Doc. It's just going to halfway glow, little creepy glow, okay? So you want to choose one that's going to be static, like that one. Ooh. Again, you can change the fonts. They have a lot of different fonts in here as well. If I click on this font, you can scroll through and start to find a ton of different fonts to use. So you can change the font, make it look exactly the way they want. I've seen some really neat newsletters done this way. So the last part is, how do you get the newsletter or your document out to your parents without printing it out? How do you do it? Share it. You can share it, and are you going to give them editing rights? No. Okay, so you're not going to do that. Or the alternative is, if I go in here and you can publish to the web, but what I like to do is for those parents who just flat out refuse to, look at anything that's not on paper, is you click on the PDF format. When you click on download as PDF, it's going to pop up here, and do I not have a PDF editor on this machine? That's awesome. It will pop up, and you can view it as a PDF. I know Google has to be able to have a PDF viewer. You can download it and view it as a PDF. So if you still needed to print it out, that's the best way to do it. Because right now, if I hit Control and P and print, something's not going to look right. You're not going to like the way it looks. So my suggestion is download it as a PDF.